Welcome to I Said What I Said, a sports podcast giving you opinions not heard anywhere else. I'm your host, Brad Wakai, alongside my co-host, Tyson Gentry. And Tyson, we're coming at you on a Friday. Those will be listening on, I think, a Friday, potentially a Saturday. I'm not quite sure. So happy weekend, everybody out there. Tyson, we're back in the fold again. Another preview. We're doing a little bit differently. We're only highlighting two of the big games of the weekend before getting into Money Making Time. But what are your thoughts on the slate overall before we jump in?
It's not as great as you would, like to see at this point in the year, but we got 3 games on Christmas. We're NBA on Christmas, guys, so the NFL is a little, it's going to be the forefront for us. It'll be on the big screen. The NBA, for me at least, will be on a smaller screen, and then I'm sure Christmas Vacation or some other movie will be on the family screen. But the NFL taking over Christmas, dude, I still can't really wrap my head all the way around it.
Yeah, and of course they get a nice little excuse on it too because it's on Monday. They're like, we normally play on
Yeah,
Mondays. Like,
we're just going to put 3 games because that's what we'd always do.
yeah, so I'll have probably the NBA on the big screen. Probably NFL on big screen. I'll be small screen than the NBA because the family is a little bit more of a football family than NBA.
Take that, Adam Silver.
Seriously, though. But Tyson, like I said off the top, we're doing things differently. Normally, if you guys have been with us all season, we run through every single game, give our early thoughts on each. But we're kind of getting late into the year. There's some games that are gross, games that don't matter, games that the only thing you're paying attention to really is fantasy football playoffs. If you're betting, and then if you're fans of the team, their draft position. But that's not what we're going to do. We got 3 more weeks left in the NFL regular season. There's 2 huge games that are taking place this weekend. So we're going to start with the first one. That's the Cowboys and the Dolphins, and really dive into this one because the Cowboys are coming off a whooping against the Bills. They got to go back on the road again to Miami, where it's late and difficult to play at this part of the season down in Miami. But we know that when the Dolphins step up in class, they struggle. Like, what's your read on this one?
Well, I think that both or 2 things can be true. That when the Dolphins step up in class, they struggle, and when the Cowboys play somebody that just wants to pound the rock, they're in trouble. And it's going to be which one of these 2 things wins out. Miami might be, or probably is, like the most effective team running the football as far as like the angles they create and the way Mike McDaniel kind of just gets this thing rolling. It's special. And then Tyreek Hill is going to be back, so it's prime time viewing here. But for me, it's how much can that Dallas defensive line and front 7 really show stopping the run? Because win the NFC East or not, you're like right now you're prognosticating they're going to play San Francisco at some point in the playoffs, and if you can't stop the run against the Padawan and Mike McDaniel and this offense in Miami, good luck with Christian McCaffrey in round 2 there against San Francisco.
This is an interesting game. I mean, just one, you think the Cowboys are going to be able to get more pressure than they generated last week on the Bills. That's first and foremost. They have to do that. Secondly, this is an opportunity for the Dolphins to prove that, okay, our early struggles against good teams, that's in the past.
It doesn't count.
I don't know.
If they beat the Cowboys, then it doesn't count in people's minds as them beating a good team, because then the narrative is that the Cowboys can't beat good teams. But there's mental gymnastics there. Both these teams suck is what the narrative is going to be coming on Monday.
Of course. I think if I'm looking at this game, Tyson, for me, like where it's going to be won is in the trenches, of course. Can the Cowboys generate pressure to disrupt the running game? Can they get 2 off of his spot? Because if not, the Dolphins, I mean, Jalen Waddle's confident again. He's healthy. They're going to run rampant on the secondary if they can't get pressure, because we know about the turnovers and Deron Bland interceptions. But if you can get behind these guys and you can torch them if there's no pressure up front. And like you said earlier, the Dolphins might be able to just run over these guys. Maybe they don't even have to throw the football.
And it feels weird to get into a Dallas Cowboys discussion without mentioning that offense. Like, we're 4 minutes in here. If Dak is on his A game and rolling, it doesn't look like it did as hard as it did against Buffalo. Like, it looks more like it did against Philadelphia, which is entirely possible. Like, the Dolphins defense has names and blue chippers, and Vic Fangio's defensive coordinator, but we're kind of propping them up to a level that I just don't think they're at. And it's easier, to be able to say that after they pitch a shutout against the Jets than it's going to be after whatever Dallas does to them, because it's almost mirror images, right? Like, the way they get things done are a little differently, but these are both teams that would like to establish a run to be able to throw the ball, and at the end of the day, they want to look up and see 50 points.
Dallas 3-4 away from home. The Dolphins 6-1 at home. This is a battle of who can hold stand here. Can the Cowboys get their road schneid off? I don't see it, to be completely honest. And I don't know if you have a pick in this in Money Making Time. I do not. This one, I'm going to kick my feet back and watch on Christmas Eve because I think this is going to be a banger.
I do have a play on this one.
Ooh, okay. Well, let's get into the appointment viewing. You mentioned that for this game. This is taking place on Christmas at night, 8:15 Eastern. Ravens at 49ers, what many people are calling the preview of the Super Bowl. Now, Lamar Jackson came out and said Super Bowl's in February. This isn't the Super Bowl. And I think a lot of times you hear that. We don't even know if these teams are going to get back. This is just going to be a really good regular season game. Let's put it there. Ravens elite defense, Niners elite defense. Ravens, they're starting to figure out this offense. 49ers, we know what they do offensively. This game, first and foremost, this should be the best game of the season.
Yeah, and I think we're in for a mid-2000s treat as opposed to people thinking this is going to be another 50-point explosion for the Niners offense and Lamar's going to be able to keep up because he's Lamar Jackson. This is going to be old school football, man. This is going to be which one of us can just establish our will earliest and most often, because that's how both of these teams want to win. They're very good at doing those things, but they haven't really had a true – I don't want to say like a true counterpart in that department, because there are teams that try to do it, but these are the two best at doing that in the AFC and the NFC. It's very, very, very unlikely to me that like we're going to get a regular season game that's going to turn out to be the Super Bowl in a month or 2 months or whatever. That's just not the way this thing works. But it's going to be really fun. And 5.5 feels a little disrespectful to the Baltimore Ravens to me.
Yeah, to me too. On the road, yes. And a lot of people, the sports books have said, like on a neutral, we would have the 49ers as favorites, 5-point favorites of everybody. Well, now they're at home and they're 5.5-point favorites. So you're just a flat out liar if you're saying that then. So apparently it's 2 weeks after you said that. And we already have their first one. Like, no, you wouldn't. They'd be a 4-point favorite. So whatever. Here's what I want to see. Can the Ravens linebackers, are they going to be able to plug up those holes in the running attack? Because we know Patrick Queen, when he plays downhill, he's really good. It's in space where he struggles. And I think he could be potentially exposed here if it gets to that point. As far as the running game goes, I think McCaffrey might struggle a bit. Like, I think he's still going to have his usual numbers, but I don't think it's going to look as dominant. Like, it may be just chunk play if it gets to that point, because we know Roquan Smith, he's probably going to lead the game in tackles if they want to run the football. So that's what I'm looking at. Linebackers versus the run scheme, if the Ravens can stop this.
And it's not going to be a repeat of what they did to like Nicholas Morrow a couple weeks ago in Philadelphia, where they were just like, hey, we're running option routes out the backfield attacking that guy, because Patrick Queen's going to pass that off to Geno Stone. And you don't want to deal with that necessarily if you're Brock Purdy. That's not a place you want to be throwing the football. Dude, this is going to be just knockdown, drag out. I'm a little shocked that people seem to think this is Rams Chiefs on Monday night 5 years ago or whatever that game was.
Yeah, me too. And then on the other side too, Tyson, like we've seen the Ravens offense improve in the passing attack. This is their first, I think, true test
for sure
against a big time contender on a big spot. We're going to see Lamar Jackson, because every time we talk about these Ravens, it's like, well, when it gets to the playoffs, when they play somebody real, it hasn't looked the same. Well, they got a chance to at least prove that maybe this is a different year.
And there's what I would say there's 3 possible outcomes for this game, right? I think the Niners could run them out the building. Niners could win close. Ravens could win close. I don't see a Ravens blowout. Do you?
I don't. I think the Ravens they just don't blow out good teams, right? Like, they grind out victories. They grind out better opponents than them sometimes, which hasn't happened often this season. Is
there a chance this is the fastest game of the NFL season?
I was thinking that, right? Because they could just have run, stop. Okay. And then when they throw the ball too, Tyson, it's all in the middle of the field. So when they catch it, they get tackled in bounds.
And both these dudes don't throw incompletions. So that clock is going to stay running.
Yeah, it should be good, man. If you're drunk on Christmas and you throw this on, you want to get to bed early, man, this one might be done in 2 hours. Okay, well, that's going to do it for our abbreviated preview here. We're going to get in the Money Making Time now. And Tyson, I got to say, man, I'm pissed. I am pissed off about how last week went, because let's take a look at the recap screen here. Dude, I went 2-3-1, so I had to push. I mean, I'll say this: Browns -3. That push I'll take any day of the week, because they were trailing that game and they almost lost outright on the Hail Mary. So I'll take that one. My loss is where I get pissed, because Texans-Titans over 36.5. It goes to overtime. They score a game-winning touchdown. It would have hit the over. They call it back, and then the Texans kick a game-winning field goal. So we lose that game. Unbelievable. Commanders, Rams, that had every reason to go over, didn't get there. And then I'll get, Packers in the money line parlay. That screwed me. I should have not trusted that defensive coordinator. That came back to bite me. Cowboys, Bills sailed under. 49ers, Cardinals sailed over. So we go 2-3-1 for me, Tyson. That is going to bring me to a negative 1.18 unit week of week 15.
And I went 3-2 this week. Bills -1.5 might have been, that was the get back spot that I needed there. Colts -1.5. Full disclosure, I watched the first quarter of this game and I was inside of Washington Grizzly Stadium. I did not see the finish. I just checked my phone, so I was 30-13 or whatever. We were doing good. David Njoku touchdown, quick, easy. Bijan Robinson is dead to
dude.
Arthur Smith and to the Falcons. I guess maybe the best game of his career being fought up by this should have been predictable. And then Zay Jones touchdown. My entire reasoning was because I felt like the Jaguars needed to get him more involved, be able to score points. Involved him a little bit, still not enough.
Tyson, you got the David Njoku thing really helped you out. That was plus 240. So you were up 1.2 units on the week. So as a team, we were 0.02 units in the positive, baby.
Look at us, dude.
Look at that. Big money here. So
only about 2 million more of those weeks, and we'll be rolling in dough.
We'll be right there. So I'm down 2.25 on the year. You're down 4.29. Yes. Podcast is a total down 6.54, but that's okay. That's okay. A couple bad weeks have really hurt us. And when we have bad weeks, we have them together. So that's really what the issue is. So let's get into it this week. I'll start off. I got the most plays here. I got 7. So I'm going to take a shot on one. This has happened on Saturday. I'm going to take the Steelers money line to beat the Bengals. That's at plus 124. Tyson, here's my reasoning. When everything seems to be going bad for Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin, they rally the troops, man. They rally the troops, and Mason Rudolph's going to be in a quarterback. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he moves the ball like effectively at times, just in limited spots. So I think he's actually going to get the ball to Pat Freiermuth. He's going to get the ball to George Pickens. He's going to get the ball to Deontay Johnson. I'm going to take the Steelers money line here.
I mean, there's a chance 2 of those 3 dudes quit at halftime. So I'm hopeful for you, but I don't know. You mentioned taking a shot. This is where I'm starting with a real shot here. Each team to score 1+ rushing touchdown in all 3 Christmas Day games. That is the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Giants, the Eagles, the Ravens, and the 49ers at plus 2,000. Now, I probably wouldn't condone putting your paycheck on this play here, but, if it's a little $5 spot for you while you're watching the Christmas games, you don't really want to gamble, it turns into $100 for you. And to be honest, I'm sick of seeing all these negative numbers. So if I miss this one, I just lose 1 unit. And if I make it, then all of a sudden at the end of the year, we don't have to talk about I had to get here with a plus 2,000 Christmas special.
You always find these. You didn't do it as much this year as you did in the past. So I'm missing the vintage Tyson. I'm hoping this one gets home because this would be an electric one to get home. That's for sure. My next play for me here, I'm going to go a player prop. I think everybody's kind of forgetting about this guy because they're going in a different direction on offense. But this feels like a great spot to back Stephon Diggs. So I'm going to go Stephon Diggs over 69.5 nice receiving yards against the LA Chargers. And this is my reasoning. Yes, there could be a bounce back spot without Brandon Staley. Yes, the defense could look okay, blah, blah, blah. But I think for sure they're going to want to get Diggs involved. This is the game to do it against a soft secondary. I think he explodes in this one. Reminds everybody the Bills look right. Yes, they're going to be running James Cook. They're going to want to do that. But if they're going to throw the football, Josh Allen's going to target his guy. So give me Diggs over 69.5 receiving yards.
If you would have told me before the season that on December 22nd you could get Stephon Diggs under 70 yards as the number, I would have not believed you. It's a bit insane. But Brad, my last kind of mini shot play here for the Christmas games is only plus 125, but it's Brock Purdy, Pat Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts to combine for 6+ passing touchdowns. I know I just said that there might not be a ton of points in that Niners Ravens game. I think with the way this Chiefs offense has found itself last week, they look much better. And I think Pat Mahomes does the majority of the lifting. And for whatever reason, when you look up at the end of games, whether Brock Purdy has been dicing the defense up or if you just feel like he played okay, he's got 3 or 4 tuds, man. So I'm rolling with history here.
I like that. That's a fun one too, because even if you don't want to play the games itself, you can just kind of root for a couple things. That's a fun one to root for.
Well, I can't bet on the Birds, dude. I can't bet on the 13.5 point Birds.
Oh, man. Well, You're going to be in for a shock then. my next one here, Tyson, what have I been doing, man? I'm going to the well on the Indianapolis Colts overs. Are you kidding me with this? Colts Falcons over 44.5. We're under a key number. Colts defense is a sieve. Don't fall for what the Titans did last week. There were explosive plays all over the field. They couldn't score. And I know the Falcons they're assholes and we hate Arthur Smith and they don't get their best players the ball. But my goodness, man, some of the best high school teams might be able to score on this Colts defense at least a couple times. Taylor Heineke in the dome. Falcons play much better at home. Colts play worse on the road. I'm taking the over here.
Again, if you would have told me on December 22nd that you'd be taking a Gardner Minshew versus Taylor Heineke over, I might not have believed you either. Brad, my next one here, we talked about this game. I'm going to play Ravens plus 5.5 at minus 104. To me, it feels like it probably should be a comfortable-ish San Francisco 49ers win with the way they've been rolling. But also over the last couple of weeks, I've realized I don't know shit about the NFL. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in most of these games. And I just think Baltimore is gritty enough to make it dirty and slimy and gross. And San Francisco hasn't been tested in that way since the Cleveland game, maybe? Like, when's the last time these dudes really had to sweat? They've been blowing the doors off everyone.
I'm with you, man. Ravens plus 5.5, man. I'm with you. This is too many points. Ravens said they feel disrespected. Ravens are coming in extremely motivated in big spots. Kyle Shanahan gets conservative. This just screams field goal game. I think there's just too many. Give me Ravens. I got the better defense. Like you said, too, we think the ball's going to play a lot. Clock's going to be running. Let's take as many points as we can get.
I know I'm a little sad that this didn't creep its way over 6, but we'll be fine with the 5.5. Brad, my next play here, I said I can't bet on the birds, but I can bet plus 13.5 for the New York Giants. A little reverse jinx here for my favorite team in the Philadelphia Eagles. We did a filthy PHILTHY podcast episode on what the heck happened to the Philadelphia Eagles. Go check that out. Did you see the report today that apparently there's some questions about Jalen Hurts' outward leadership or whatever? That's, reaching to me. I don't put a lot of stock in that report. But one of two ways. Philadelphia either comes out, puts up 40, and we're all like, okay, so that's what the offense can look like, or it continues to look like trash. And if it continues to look like trash, Tommy DeVito is going to be able to cover 2 touchdowns.
I'm taking Eagles minus 13.5. So either way, we're getting a winner on this game. So that's either way. Christmas is bringing the podcast a winner. So if you listen to Filthy, go back. It's on our YouTube channel. If you're an Eagles fan, if you want to know, if you're curious what the heck's going on from our perspective, as we are both Eagles fans, I'm more bullish on the Eagles than you are right now, which is the opposite of any time in our existence. I'm normally the negative. I'm the Negadelphian here, the negative one.
It's because you're East Coast.
You're the positive one. No, not now. I'm the one who's like, wait, this is still a good football team. We just got to see it. And you're like, man, they're worse than the Panthers. So I think they come out and prove it. They have a week prepared, Monday to Monday. They get a full week. They're at home on Christmas. This feels like a great spot for the Eagles to bounce back. I'm laying the points.
Man, I could just picture those fans going nuts, losing their minds on Christmas. It's either going to be real pretty or real ugly. Brad, my next one here, I have the over 50.5 points in the Cowboys and Dolphins game. It just feels to me like that's not enough. That's not a number that's scary to me. I probably would have played this up. I think we're looking at a 31-27 kind of football game, 31-28. I think that Miami is going to win this football game. 1.5, felt better, but I still have questions about if Miami is going to be able to show this jump that we think they've made right over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season here. But 50.5 points, I think the corners from Dallas are going to get abused. Just to be honest, Stephon Gilmore looks awesome at times, but he's also going against guys that don't run 4.2s, and that's just going to become an issue. Give me the over in every Miami game from here until probably the end of 2025.
Hey, man, I was looking at that too. I didn't quite pull the trigger on it. I'm kind of with you, man. I didn't know. I just don't see how that stays under. It just screams points. It's going
to be 3-0 now that we put our stink on it.
You're right. Another game. I got to take a gross one here. Commanders +3 on the road at the Jets. Dude, really? That offense is so bad. Now you're playing the Commanders defense. It does scare me, but they're coming off a game. They just got embarrassed. What are the vibes in that locker room? And the Commanders, yeah, I'm disappointed in how they looked against the Rams. That was a motivated Rams team. Like, they have playoff aspirations. This Jets team, I don't know what's going on inside that building. So I'm going to take the points here. This is gross. I don't recommend it, but I'm playing it and I'm giving it out.
Solid way to ingratiate yourself to your teammates is to not go on IR and have somebody else lose their job.
Well, he invited him back, apparently.
Oh, good for him, dude. He should have been on the team the whole freaking time. Attention monger. My play of the week here, Brad, to end us off for me, Cleveland Browns -2.5. They're on the road against Houston, but again, it's going to be no CJ Stroud. I think the books are still a little slow to the fact that this is the best the Browns offense has looked all season by a mile. Obviously, it hasn't been always pretty with Joe Flacco under center. Like, you can look at multiple different times last week where you're kind of like, I don't like the way that feels. 2.5 points. This is a team, like, we're going to look up at the end of the year and we're going to go, the Browns won 11 games.
Tyson, I'm here with you, man. Browns 2.5, play of the week. Let's go. I mean, I'm with you, dude. It's weird that Joe Flacco, that's how Flacco has these games where he looks poor. And then the next week it's like, oh, I got that out of my system and just throws seeds. This defense against Case Keenum or Davis Mills, please. Really? That's what we're doing here?
I think Myles Garrett might win Defensive Player of the Year this week. we might just wrap the award up.
Man, so I'm taking Browns -2.5. It's under the field goal. You got to play it ASAP because it's going to get up to 3, get scarier. But anything under a field goal, please, please, please. That's play of the week for both of us here.
And the Browns have been probably our most profitable team since Joe Flacco took over. So, we're all in. Ideally, for me, Joe Flacco beats the Ravens in the playoffs. I think that would be the funniest possible outcome.
That would be very funny. But Tyson, I'm gonna start looking through these Christmas specials. You got me thinking. I got to see what's going on. So if there's anything else we play, where can the people find it?
It'll be in the Chalkboard app. It's in the App Store, Google Play, wherever you. Is that Google Play? That's what you download the apps on. Yeah. On Android there. The app is called Chalkboard. The group name is ISWIS Presents the Roundtable Bets. Type that in. We'll let you write in. It's free. We have the end of the NFL season is here, right? So it's time to really get these bets in because it gets a lot harder to it gets harder to have fun in the playoffs because everything turns into sweat. So hop in there, and then we got MLB, or not anymore, but we have NBA. We have any sport you can think of. I don't know why I'm blanking on all of the names here, but we got MLS, we got NHL, whatever you could think of. Brad played a $400 ping pong bet last night. So if you want in the Chalkboard app, we'll let you write it.
In the meantime, like, subscribe, and share the show. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button on the way out. If you're listening to podcast form, please rate and review if you haven't already. Just any 5-star helps us out, helps us become more discoverable in the algorithm and all that good stuff. Share the show as well. Send it to a buddy. Send it to somebody you hate. It does not matter. We just appreciate all the support you guys have given us and helping us grow the show. It's been our best year to date. We'll do a big wrap up at the end as we get ready for 2024, which will be a very heartfelt from us. But in the meantime, we're still grinding away for you guys. So next week, we're going to be back breaking down what we just saw, like we always do. What just happened? Who came out on top of the Cowboys and big games that we needed to know about? Who's going to be picking number 1, all these different stuff. So we got you covered on the football front. Plus, we're going to start previewing the big bowl games upcoming in college football. So don't want to miss that. Enjoy your weekend. We'll speak to y'all soon. Peace.